Hi there, Dr. Vicki Lemfer here with the Shift Happens channel. Okay, so today we're going to talk about self-love. What is it? How does this play into the whole manifesting business? All right, but before we do that, like, share, comment, subscribe. That's how we build our community because I learn from you just as much as you learn from me. So we have a lot of fun here, and we're going to share some stories along the way and some tips and techniques. So go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment. All right, so let's get into this self-love. I know when I first began my journey, I had several different moments of leveling up, so to speak. And at one point, they're like, it's all about self-love, and I'm like, okay, self-love. What is that, right? And so then that took me on my whole journey of self-love. What is it? Because I was like, I just wanted to get better fast. So I was like, all right, self-love, checklist. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. So I was in Target one day and I saw this book and workbook that said self-love. This is how you do it. And I'm like, okay. So I started going through the workbook. I was like, all right. I was doing the exercises. I didn't get through that workbook because it was just a chore, right? It was a checklist. And I was like, it was not fulfilling. It didn't feel good. So I was like, this isn't getting me anywhere. So I continued on my what is self-love. And so then I thought these choices, that's what self-love. I'm going to choose to feel better. I'm going to choose to have the better ending story. I'm going to choose things. And so often our society says, well, here's self-love, go get your nails done, go exercise, go take a day of where you sit on the couch and eat brownies and watch Netflix and whatever. Okay, those are elements. Those are nice things, I guess, but that still, I was like, well, still left me going, yeah, I really don't feel good about myself. And that whole saying of, you're enough. And I'm like, what the hell is that, right? And so, it's about feeling good. It's about feeling enough, and you are enough. And I'm like, okay, great. I still feel empty, right? So I continued. And then I was like, okay, it's all about meditation, just staying quiet. And I was never connected. And what do I mean by that? I was never connected to who I really was, because they're like, well, what do you enjoy? I don't know. You go through counseling and they're like, what is it that makes you happy? I'm like, I really don't know. Because again, I'm not feeling anything other than emptiness and loneliness, right? And so, then I started on that journey of what do I enjoy? And I still am kind of there. There's moments where I'm like, is this fun? And then you start looking at what society says you should have fun doing. Like, you need to do these big grand things. And I'm like, well, I don't really have the money right now to do these big grand things. And they're like, okay, if you don't have the money for it, then you can still do them just in a little different way. And I'm like, it was all chatter, And then I realized, and I really do believe that self-love, it's a whole journey of discovering yourself. I don't think you ever really get to the end until you take your last breath, right? We're constantly living life, and living life is having challenges. And, how do you react to those challenges? Well, how does self-love play into that? Well, it always goes back to you. This is what I teach my students all the time. It begins and ends with you, right? The alpha, the omega. It's the messy middle that we get all crazy about, right? And so self-love is a big thing because it is self-love. Well, who is self? You know what I'm going to say. Self is, you are the I am. You are the I am awareness. You are source. Source works through you as you, right? And that's not until, when I did all these things, and it wasn't until I truly accepted myself as being that brilliant being, that piece of God. They always say we're children of God. Okay, we are all one consciousness. We're connected, and we're all connected to source. It's kind of crazy, it's mind-blowing. And everything we've learned everything I teach is counterintuitive. to what we have been taught our entire lives, right? We were taught to struggle, to grind it through and, persevere and be determined. And these are great things, and you can get things from that. Some of that will stick and you'll manifest things. But boy, when you truly let it go and just love who you are in every moment, that's self-love, and things really do come to you. And it's at that point where you don't care whether or not they come or not, because I'm fine just the way I am, right? But it is crazy because things come to you that sometimes it looks exactly how you visualize. Sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay too, because it is in the feeling and that being of things. So this self-love, going back to my workbook that I was doing, it was all a checklist, and I didn't even get through it. I didn't get through that workbook. I'm sure it's somewhere around here, but I'm like, because it was a chore. I was working towards something. I was going to do that checklist. We're not human doings. It's not a doing list. We're a being. We're a human being. And being is being in the moment, right here, right now. Because, okay, think about this. Contrast, love, right? They're really the same. Think about east and west. East and west eventually meet. North and south eventually meet. So love and hate are just right around the corner from each other. Think about that for a second, right? So it's kind of like, contrast is there to help you point back to the love of who you are, that self-love. And when you just kind of stop and think about it, we make this so difficult. But just be that person. Allow yourself to be that person. Accept the person that you are. We've been taught so often to be like, now listen, be humble. Don't, brag about yourself. And I'm not saying to be overly superior. I mean, superior, inferior, right? We're right in the middle, right? We're in that neutral being. Accepting your brilliance, accepting those giving and receiving is self-love. So yeah, it is all of these things all the time, everywhere, right? It's always in the moment. When someone compliments you, man, I really enjoyed your teaching the other day. I learned a lot. Great, thank you. I'm happy it helped you. And that's all I'm doing, is I am here serving, helping, and hoping that, you get at least one thing. Do you get the whole thing? The formula never changes. So what I say is always essentially the same, because God is unchanging. Circumstances change all the time, but this never changes. This is the unchangeable. This is your self-love right here. It is true. It is always there. God never goes over to the negative, doubt, worry, fear stuff. That's all my thinking and my experiencing of reality in a different manner. This is unchangeable reality. And then when we get that fear and we're separated from source. But it always gets back because even in our deepest despair, and I've been there a few times where I'm like, there is no hope. I have nothing. I don't want to even be here. I'm just done. I'm telling you, east meets west. Love is right around from hate. When you're in that deep, dark moment, you really do lose all resistance. And source is right there. Source is there in the deepest, darkest moments and the highest of highs. It's always there, but it's unchanging. And that's who you are. That's that self-love. It's unchanging. So all these contrasting things, all that 3D events, there's infinite possibilities all over. And you just get to choose how you respond to that 3D. And every time you choose an ideal ending or an ideal story that reflects the love of you, that self-love, it gets you closer and closer and closer to your manifested desires, your experiencing of your desires in the 3D. Everything is here. You experience it here, inside of you, right? That's where source is, inside of you. But then that's your reality, and then you experience it in the 3D. I know, we're going to keep talking about this. The formula never changes. This outside does. And it always points you right back, whether you're in the high or low vibration. Isn't that kind of cool? This is stable. It's right there. It's inside of you. And you get to tap into that whenever, all the time, everywhere, anytime. Now, right? Okay, well, I enjoyed talking with you. Let me know how this resonates with you, all right? That whole self-love thing. It is all about accepting your brilliance, all right? Comment, share, subscribe. Let's get this community going. I learn from you just as much as you learn from me. I enjoy getting to know you. Thank you for all the comments and all the emails. And I offer coaching. So go ahead and contact me at shifthappenslifecoaching@gmail.com. All of the information is below in the description box. I even have a book out there. And I am writing my next book too. So until next time, bye. Love ya.